When you were a kid, if your parents ever said, you can go outside to play on one condition, you have to finish your homework, they were programming you without even realizing it. They were setting a condition that you had to complete, which was finishing your homework, and if that condition became true, then you could go outside to play. Conditionals are all around us. If it's before 12 noon, we say good morning instead of good night. If we want to ride a roller coaster, we have to be a certain height to ride. Or if someone holds the door for us, we say thank you. Well, most of us do anyway. In the last video, we used a conditional to check if the value of the total bill or the number of people was not a number. And if not a number was true, then we knew the user typed in something invalid. So we alerted them that they hadn't entered a number. Actually, I'm noticing that I mixed double and single quotes in my strings. So let me fix that and go one way or the other. It doesn't matter which way you go as long as you're consistent. So I see that on line 1 I used double quotes and on line 3 I didn't. So I'm going to switch all my strings to single quotes. And then again on line 8 I have to do the same. So instead of using double quotes, I'm going to just use single quotes for all strings. In the world of programming, an if statement is known as a conditional. With it, we can check to see if a certain condition is true and then do something specific if it is true. That's why it's called a conditional. For more information, let's Google JavaScript conditionals. Let's check out what W3 Schools has. And we can see that it says very often when you write code, you want to perform different actions for different decisions. So we can use conditional statements to do this. We can use the if statement to specify a block of JavaScript code to be executed if a condition is true. And that's exactly what we did in the last video. We put the code that we want to execute if the condition is true within the curly braces after the if statement. There's another type of conditional called the if-else statement, and we can use it to direct our code to follow a specific path, almost like a fork in the road. If something is true, we do something. Otherwise, else, we do something else. So let's bring this functionality into our code. If the user's input is not a number when we ask them for the total bill, we can use an alert to tell them you have not entered a number. Else, we should continue executing the program code. So if everything's good, we should continue. So let's nest everything else inside of the else statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab everything that comes after this if statement, and I'm going to create an else statement. And inside of this else, I want to make sure that I put the rest of the program. So if we find out that total bill is not a number, we're going to say you have not entered a number, and the program is going to stop right there. Otherwise, else, continue on. So I'm going to put the rest of the program in, and let me make sure I indent it so it's easier to read. There we go. So let's make sure that when we run our program, if we don't type in a valid number, the program stops right there. So if I type in banana for the total bill, it says you have not entered a number, and it should stop right there. You see how it didn't ask me how many people were in attendance? Now if I type in a number, if I hit run, and I type in 45, then it's going to ask me how many people were in attendance. So I could actually use another if-else statement in number of people, right after number of people. Because if the person doesn't type in a valid number of people, we should stop the program right there. So we should just alert them that they haven't entered a number, right here on line 10. Else, we should continue the rest of the program. So let's put all of this, the rest of the program, inside of this else statement. And so I'm going to nest it in there by indenting. So you guys can see that we have if else, all nested together. So let's say I've run my program. If I type in 45 for the total bill, and then I type in no for the number of people who were in attendance, it's going to say you have not entered a number, and then it's going to stop right there. But if I type in valid numbers, then it's going to continue on, let's say 50 and 5, it's going to continue on and say exactly how much each person should pay. This is going to be better than what we had before, because before, if we typed in an invalid number, then the program just kept going. It tried to do it anyway. But now, it stops when there's a problem. And just like that, our program is really coming together. We've learned a lot of concepts in a short amount of time, and if you're understanding everything, keep it up. If you're having a little bit of trouble understanding something, be sure to post a question in the comments below.